not urinating on the fire, man.
What I talk with Russell about is none of your business.
The culture is actually damn good.
Nothing's quite like unwarranted self-importance, which is why I'm debuting a new segment on Sportsball, Tree Picks, powered in partnership with Underdog, your home for pick'em and goodies for any sport you desire. The rules are simple. If you do the exact opposite of what I say, you're more than likely going to win. Look at my track record, it's the nature of the beast. Let's see how this poor predictor of fortunes did in week 1. Honestly shocked I got one of them right. God bless Justin Fields and his rushing. Now let's get to this week's Thursday night contest. Jets against Patriots in the biannual teabagging. For my picks, I believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to go higher than his passing yard total. Seattle burned the Pats for a lot of yardage last week, and Rodgers has talent. I also think Garrett Wilson goes higher in receiving yards for that same reason. Hunter Henry will be lower for longest reception simply because the Jets' defense is quite stout. Joey Sly is definitely lower for kicking points. Joey Sly is bound to miss 2 or 3 kicks by default. Finally, I think Ramondre goes higher than his receiving yard total. Why do I think that? Because nothing makes sense anymore. These are my 5 picks. Do what you will with them. In an Underdog, there's plenty of options to combine, add, and develop your parlay for whatever you fancy. There are oodles of daily specials and special picks that make it that much sweeter. And you can get involved by clicking the link below and using the code UTREE to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash on your first deposit. And how well you might do with Underdog. And always remember to play responsibly. Miami is a very talented group that bedazzles the common fan with skill. Their only flaw is that they are absolutely useless against playoff caliber teams and in the cold. And they're especially awful against Buffalo. Even with the Bills down 3 of their best defenders, it was like witnessing a sumo match between a Yokozuna and a Pipsqueak. Squash match that's over in about 5 seconds. When Tua's airmailing balls to Robbie Chosen in goddamn 2024, things need to be reassessed. He made that Bills D enhanced with superpowers. Buffalo had to barely lift a finger and they crushed them beneath their feet. Proving division superiority once again. And I wish that was the only issue for the Dolphins. Tua suffered another concussion. Especially after the horrors he suffered a few years ago, his health itself is in peril. You have to think about walking away from football at this point, right? It doesn't matter if I think he's a good QB when his head might turn into puree. Sometimes you have to save a man from himself. And Tua may be at that point. Miami didn't just lose the game, they may have lost their identity in the process. Brutality defined. Say what you will about events in Springfield, but in Charlotte, everyone's eating the cats. We all know things can always get worse. And in David Tepper's circus, the lions have escaped the cage and are mauling the bearded lady. Or is that Bryce Young being minced? You have to bench him at this point. The dude's living in the David Carr simulator. He's lost the confidence of himself, the fans, and his teammates. Legitimately trending to be the worst first overall pick of all time. And it's not just him, the whole team's trash from top to bottom. The coaching staff's lost in a strip mall for crying out loud. Jim Harbaugh has some semblance of structure. And that's all the Chargers needed. Carolina's lucky they could compete with a ragtag group of YouTubers. Liquid LA, thanks to this bounty, are somehow 2-0. Now, as long as Herbert's not significantly banged up, they'll be good. Jesus Christ. We're gonna look back on the Bryce Young pick and wonder how the fuck Carolina destroyed him like this. This is nothing close to what he was at Alabama. Bryce was supposed to be the most NFL-ready quarterback, and he's only ready to curl up into a ball. The Panthers ran a tool-assisted speed run on ruining him. And I think they clinched the world record. He legitimately should not be on a professional football field. He's that lost. Dave Canales can say he's their quarterback, but he had no choice. If he kept Young in, he was going to lose the locker room. And with the whole team looking like a JV squad, they need a spark of flintlock. Bryce has been benched for the Red Rifle. This might be a worse first overall pick than Jamarcus Russell if it keeps trending like this. The Raiders didn't have to give up a haul and a half for him like Carolina did. And Jamarcus didn't have an elite quarterback go after him either. As I say that, this is a friendly reminder that CJ Stroud wouldn't be doing much better in this shit heap. He'd look more competent, but he'd be dying alive here too. Sorry, Panthers fans. Your punishment must be more severe. Excuse me. Are the Saints good? A high-flying offense that destroys secondaries in their wake? I don't know if it's sustainable, but I don't care. Pete Carmichael needs to be extradited from Argentina and charged with war crimes. The same weapons are doing so much better in Clint Kubiak's system. Derek Carr actually looks like the quarterback that was advertised to Louisiana. Alvin Kamara's destroying worlds with his feet once again. This unit can't be stopped on any of their first 6 drives. I'm gonna be cautious though. To be fair, it's very, very easy to look elite when your opponents are the Panthers and Hans Zimmer's senile cousin. Seriously, someone looked at their elite defense and said, you know what this team needs? Mike Zimmer. Cowboys had no chance. This was a walloping from the starting gun. Dallas got outclassed by New Orleans of all teams. Just a sneak preview of them in January. Explain, Colts. How the fuck do you get bested by a team starting Malik Willis under center? This guy was acquired 3 weeks ago. He barely knows the playbook. Their center's puking on the ball and they're still running it down their throat. If I'm Indy, I'm unbelievably concerned about that defense. They said this unit was upper tier. These guys literally can't stop the run. They can't get off the field. They're getting mauled on the line of scrimmage, and Buckner and Latu are knocked out of the game. And Anthony Richardson did his typical mystery box act. Who knows where the ball is going? Maybe 5 yards away from anyone, maybe to a defender. The fortunate thing is that the Packers don't have a quarterback and Josh Jacobs fucked the ball near the goal line, making this game closer than it should have been. AR5 at his final drive where he flashed his raw talent with ease, then throws another bad pick to seal an unbelievably needed win for Green Bay. The thing is, he's far from the biggest issue in Indy right now. At least he can perform sometimes, unlike other things. Welcome to Trevor Banks Stadium, a gimmick that totally won't blow up in Jacksonville's face at all. It certainly didn't affect Trevor Lawrence, slicing and dicing that Browns D for a seismic 16 yards of passing in the first half. But that set the tone for one of the sloppiest games from both sides in a good bit. I don't understand how the Jags can still let Press Taylor mangle red zone offense like this. 1 for 4 from inside the 20. The whole game was a putrid display of offensive butchery this side of voodoo sacrifices. Does Duvall need that? Maybe it'll get T-Law's talent back. It was endless frustration for their so-called home opener. They were playing a team that refused to run the ball and were 4 for 14 on third down. Cleveland didn't get close to 100 yards of offense in the second half. How are you struggling on the offensive front against this? Anything resembling consistency or competence in their 1-0 in Trevor Bank. It's a yin to the Miami game's yang. Do you want a chance of doing anything late? Too bad, here's a safety in their hour of need. Who needs a bow to a shit Sunday? This team certainly does. Nothing is pure Jacksonville like a Hail Mary dropped by the receiver in the goddamn end zone on the final play of the game. This team's the NFL's AEW. Hyped to hell by insiders and shitposters like myself only to fall victim to bloat and hubris. Go figure. We had a feeling something wasn't right the moment CMC's injury was more severe than let on. But the onus of a trap game seemed a little bit ridiculous to us all. Premonition tends to come to pass more often than not. It occurred again in Minnesota. The only explanation I have? They got cocky. With how often they repeatedly made mistakes to the countless turnovers to botched execution on third down to Brock Purdy looking mortal, the Niners seem to have chinks in their armor. Valhalla opens up to reveal the future of Vikings football. Sam Darnold? Look, I know he had a good half year in Carolina in 2022, but him leading the charge against the team he rode the pine for last year? That's a special kind of revenge. It's an impressive win for a team supposedly dead to rights with all the bullshit handed during the offseason. You just hope that Justin Jefferson's okay. It seems like he avoided serious injury, but the football got straight injuries to Nick Bosa and George Kittle in return. And Deebo Samuel. Does this embarrassing loss mean anything for San Fran? Probably not, this shit happens. This was a game on drugs. Get it on Detox Stat. It's not the derp unless they find a way to force their fans to drive further to the drink than they already are. Why wait for such horror when you can watch it on the opening kickoff? Losing their kicker on a re-aggravated injury. Why roster an insurance policy when you can have chaos? Without Graham Gano's leg, they were forced to suffer an extra pointless game. And the G-men played a competent match for the most part. However, with a key piece to their offensive attack, it would lead to horrific schadenfreude. Commies may bleed red, but the red zone wasn't kind to them. Washington deemed the goal line as sacred ground and refused to step foot on it, inadvertently maximizing pain by using a kicker to score all their points. There's master classes in trolling, and then there's this. It's unbelievably impressive. No matter what New York would try, their lack of a damn kicker undid them at every turn. Touchdowns are nice, especially with Danny Derps. But with an inability to kick extra points, there are only failed 2-point conversions. By the way, what's the point of a high-profile defensive line if Brian Robinson's gonna run amok all game? New York needs to reinforce stereotypes. Malik Neighbors is a weapon in the making, but why not drop a crucial 4th down pass because God hates this franchise? Cue Jaden Daniels his chance to put together his first winning drive thanks to infinite Deus Ex Machina. Divine intervention at its finest. And of course, it's by a 7th field goal. What an absolute kick in the nuts. You're looking at history. A team that scored 3 touchdowns, didn't surrender a tutty, yet still lost. This is the sentient derp. If fans file a class action lawsuit, they might get a free large soda settlement. If the Titans had an actual quarterback, they'd be 2-0. I'm not joking. I said that Will Levis would be what makes or breaks this franchise. He's breaking them. This dude goes from competent to an inbred from Appalachia in no time at all. I only need one play to prove my point. What is this, Will? What the fuck is this? A backwards lateral in the red zone? I teach you not to do that shit in middle school! This moment cost the Titans the game. And it wasn't as if the Jets were running away with anything. Their offense was okay, but nothing world-beating. Tennessee's defense was holding firm just like last week. And like last week, the same mistakes keep coming up all the way down to the blocked punt. Yeah, Calvin Ridley's out here catching things that he wouldn't have dared dream of in Jacksonville, and it's suddenly a tie game. It's gonna come down to who blinks first. Since Mayo Man's keen on going 3 and out, Aaron Rodgers flashes some of that old talent and slings the ball down the field. Cue Braylon Allen pissing off fantasy owners everywhere with a nice touchdown, and it's panic time. The Titans get back into the red zone with a chance to tie late. But Will Levis couldn't break a defensive grip. Who needs a Son Reddick when the Jets win like this? Oh, right, the Tremaine Johnson injury. Get back in the surrender, Cobra, Will. Or did you lateral that backwards, too? It isn't Seattle football without giving their fan base a bunch of unnecessary heart attacks just for the fun of it. New England may be a rebuilding team with an incredible lack of talent, but they play hard and minimize mistakes. Dialed in under Gerard Mayo, and that's all they really need to play spoiler. The Patriots have become lanternflies, invading and swarming every nook and cranny imaginable. You're gonna have to put up a fight to win. And combined with the Seahawks' cardiac nature, it's no wonder this is tighter than DK Metcalf's chiseled body. Splash plays mixed with a defensive struggle. New England's offense lacks talent and Mike McDonald knows how to stop it. Seattle's offense, hit or miss. Mostly miss in the second half. A lot of missing, actually. Patriots have plenty of chances to take hold. They even command the lead with a methodical drive of their own. But one more mistake-free series can clinch it. Unfortunately for Foxborough, Seattle then remembered they had a defense and sacked Brissett on a 3rd down. Their kicker's Joey Sly. They'll miss the field goal. We need more heart attacks, damn it! The Seahawks will finally unleash some semblance of offense, doing just enough to tie the game with the standard Seattle flair. Overtime. Oh, dreaded overtime. The Seahawks save their fans. They make this a bit easier, forcing a New England punt and chipping away at the withered remains of the Patriots' last stand. Gino himself commanding a final drive of the dagger to escape from hell itself.
Myers from 31 yards out. Dixon places it down. And the Seattle Seahawks go to 2-0.
You want this to be a normal football game? With the Seahawks? That doesn't exist in their rulebook. There will only be volatility eternal, even with a good effort by New England. Detroit's just running through grudge matches so far. Is this title defense mode or something? Like the Rams, the Bucs are a formidable foe that will match wits with them at every turn. Baker only desires revenge. Not just for last January, but for all the slights. He, along with a healthy dose of Chris Godwin, will guide Tampa to their guiding light. Detroit's counterattack is Aiden Hutchinson. That's all they really need. Hutchinson's wreaking havoc with 5 sacks, pretty much the main reason why the Lions are still in this game. He's proving himself among the elite of the league. You only wish that for the man under center in the Motor City. Jared. Sir, why the fuck are you throwing this ball? There isn't a receiver within 10 yards and the closest one isn't even paying attention. Don't go back to 2021 Rams form, I beg of you. It forces Detroit to try yet again. And the Bucs defense bends and bends but refuses to break. They force a turnover on downs in the red zone. Even as Dan Campbell's smart timeout management gives his team another chance, Tampa Bay holds firm and refuses to let go. Perhaps we were overestimating the easiness of last year's schedule. A most impressive win by them. Detroit isn't exactly a slouch, and they brought them to heel. Well done. There will be greater challenges ahead, but a 2-0 start is always welcome in this gauntlet. Well, what do we have here? One of at least 5 games where the Ravens raven in amazing ways. If you don't think they'll heinously play down to competition and lose in the most mind-numbing style possible, you're new to the game. This is tradition for them. That's why I can't trust them in January. They're paper tigers that repeatedly find ways to blow games in unbelievable fashion. What's it gonna take to stop with this bullshit, boys? How long must we suffer with Baltimore imitating Edgar Allan Poe in a back alley? How many awful drive-breaking penalties must they take? Daniel Faalele off position on the offensive line. Who needs to block Max Crosby? It's the offensive game plan. Hope Zay Flowers is open. Can John Harbaugh ever manage to adjust accordingly or not challenge the dumbest things? This Devontae Adams catch was so clear-cut you could call it a babyface, yet you throw a red flag for this? That's a Mike Tomlin tier challenge. You don't go that low. Lamar and King Henry are in the backfield. Who needs that when you can have trickery? It's the same damn things over and over again with Baltimore. A team you should be beating by double digits, kept in the game by refusing to focus on the finer details. Of course Las Vegas won. I saw that coming in the second quarter. I'm a fan of a division rival and I'm frustrated with them. Just take your honorary locale of the week award and get the fuck out of my face. I'll celebrate with the Raiders in their locker room on a strong victory. Make that the second time in 2 years that Gardner Minshew shocked the world in Baltimore. I don't know how this could have gone any worse for the Rams. A team they usually own, and the Cardinals not only defeating them with ease, but teabagging their corpse until it respawns. This is Marvin Harrison Jr.'s show, and he's unleashing the full power. Everyone complained he didn't get the ball enough last week. He's gonna be fed to his fancy. He's drag racing his Maserati down the sidelines. He's doing burnouts and intersections in the Daytona infield for all I care. LA couldn't lay a finger on him, or Kyler, or James Conner. A potent offensive combination that leads Arizona to their most dominant win in years. A team showing true improvement, even if it is against a hobbled Rams team. Did you like Cooper Kupp's revival, boys? It's gone. Maybe for a bit. The whole team's in a morgue about to be cremated. A nightmare game of nightmare games. You guys are gonna need therapy for this one. Is it enough time to wonder if the Broncos chose the wrong side in the Civil War? Russ wasn't any good with them, but Sean Payton may be the true cancer in the organization. Where the hell is the offensive vision? Where is anything resembling even the basics of an offense? Against the Steelers and their defense, it was misery defined. Denver didn't get the luxury of a quick or clean death. Pittsburgh was a stubborn boa constrictor that slowly wrapped itself around their body and squeezed whatever life and hope they had in 60 minutes. I'm just shocked the Steelers scored a touchdown. A passing touchdown of all things. But that was about it. The Arthur Smith pizza delivery offered nothing in the second half, and the Broncos still rode to their death. Bo Nix isn't ready, and I don't know if he'll ever be. No running game, no receiver separation. Their best offensive weapon was Broderick Jones. He isn't on the team. Onside kicks on the final drive? Who needs to do that with one timeout and less than 2 minutes remaining? Is Peyton trying to get himself fired, or is he allegedly stealing painkillers again? Yes, the Steelers are 2-0 with the most miserable football imaginable, but you can see what they're trying to do. You can't with Denver. It's gonna be a long year, Perna. Enjoy the Russell Wilson game ball out of pettiness. Why are you ice cold in September, Bengals? Why must you keep bungling even the most basic of things any given week? Started with pissing off Jamar so much that he's refusing to reopen negotiations for a bit. Continues with T. Higgins having to dog allegations of faking an injury, and finishes with this disaster piece against the Chiefs. Remember when they called it Burrowhead? That totally hasn't aged like rancid milk. What's worse is that since he had every single opportunity to bury their opponent alive, their defense was dialed in for the most part. Mahomes looked human. He made countless mistakes. Kansas City lost Isaiah Pacheco not just for the game, but most of the year. This should have been a statement win, but it was only a statement in agony. It isn't Cincinnati without a death-defying interception by Cam Taylor-Britt, backing up his trash talk while covering the guy he was talking shit about, getting a chance to bury the Chiefs in their home. And then Joe Burrow Slim Shady's the football, allowing Kansas City to scoop and score. Go fucking figure. try another drive where they're moving the ball. The Zebras miss a potential hip drop penalty, and then Jamar gets so pissed that he gets flagged for mouthing off about it. Drive dead, field goal incoming. The next offensive chance to do anything? Not with Burrow getting sacked for a devastating loss. You'd think all this alone would be enough. And then came the Chiefs' 4th and a mile.
Here he's coming up. Now he's going laterally. He's going to throw it on the run, and it's broken up, and there's no flag. Oh, flag comes in late.
You literally bailed them out. You had the game in your grasp, and you did that? Why do you keep doing this to yourselves? Oh no, the conspiracy! It's rigged for the Swifties, they'll say. But that was textbook pass interference, hard-coded in the modern NFL. The only rigging here is them on the damn gallows, and you know it.
Butker's kick for the win. He buries it.
It's one thing to have slow starts. It's another to lose winnable games with self-inflicted wounds. With how the Bengals keep shooting themselves in the foot, they may as well have landed in Kansas. Maybe they'll find that infamous Burrow head there, too. Perhaps I may have overestimated the jump Chicago would make this year. Upending a team with no quarterback is one thing, but when you're up against Houston's burgeoning machine... Oh, God. Oh, good. Fuck. God! What have you done, Bears? Is your O-line made out of paper mache? I thought you were supposed to have fixed this shit. The Texans shit-wreckers went ham. 7 sacks and 36 pressures. 30 fucking 6! Jesus Christ, you guys trying to get Caleb embalmed or something? These boys straight up bullied you on the defensive side of the ball. But Houston was more than giving them chances to win. All they could do for the most part was take penalties and fumble near the end zone. And they should have had even more penalties. Apparently, it's perfectly legal to punch a dude in the face. Al-Shair's paying homage to the bad boys, and the rest follows suit. Dead serious, if the Bears have anything resembling an interior O-line or quarterback play, they win. Caleb. Dude. This isn't the Pac-12. You can't play hero ball and chuck balls into double and triple coverage willy-nilly. This dude isn't just off kilter, he's missing targets by 10 yards! Be fair, with that O-line, no one succeeds. I have serious concerns about Caleb so far, but it's early, and I probably should be patient. But that's hard to do when this team needs his peak now. Welcome to the NFL, man. Like the Texans, it'll eat you alive if you aren't careful. The real first home game for the Eagles. Not that god-awful Brazilian shit like last week, but some red, white, and blue-blooded motherfucking football. This is pigskin in the raw, slathering it all over your body naked and covered in oil. It's not pretty, it's not attractive, and it's certainly not watchable, but when Philly wants blood, they'll squeeze every last drop of it out of their opponents. Ignore C.J. Gardner-Johnson insulting Kobe's legacy, that's unimportant. What is the fact that the Eagles will crush, maul, maim, and tush-push their way to wins. Fighting and clawing for every inch of football field. There will be no mercy to those that stand in their way. As the crowd cheers this turnover on downs, the life force is being sucked out of a failed franchise. Sorry, Falcons, but the only reward for your overhaul is the same old shit as before. Only a brick wall could stop you. Its name is the... Saquon dropped it. One of the best running backs in the game dropped the dump-off pass. A catch that would have sealed the win, and his Giants' ways emerged. A 7th grader could have made this catch. Of course that happens and prevents a quick segment. Of course it does. I don't need to do anything else. Philly kicks a field goal to go up by 6, but we now have to go back to when Nick Sirianni got greedy and didn't take the fucking points in the first quarter. This is why they matter, kids. Because if they played it safe, they're up by 2 scores. Now we get past sins coming back to haunt them. Who am I kidding? This is Atlanta. They aren't gonna collapse. Monday night Kirk Cousins was a meme back in the day. The Eagles surely won't cocoon into soft zone prevent defense and allow the Falcons endless tracts of yardage until this... Oh. Vic Fangio's in charge of this D. That's his kryptonite. Quick, someone do a memory flush. Oh no, they're not gonna have time to reboot.
Cousins looks right, has a man! Touchdown, Drake London!
What? It's like millions screamed out in horror before drowning in cheese whiz. The avian flu spread from falcon to eagle, and its major symptom is choking. Philly literally pulled in Atlanta. One of the finest falconings we've seen since days of Quinn. An easy win ripped from their hands out of hubris at the final moment. I figured Baltimore or Dallas was the biggest embarrassment this week, but man, did Monday night save the best for last. This calls for a special honor. Couple lol cow of the week. Congratulations, Philly, you've learned abso-fucking nothing after last year's collapse. It couldn't have happened to a better fuckwit in charge of the team. What's that, Nick? You're throwing Jalen under the bus when he did nothing wrong? Bitch, you made the goddamn sandwich! You should be pumping gas at the Sunoco and Camden, you fucking clown. Don't give me this shit when you fail at the basics of your job. This team's incompetence just bailed out Atlanta's season. They gave Dallas fans a bailout for their shitty performance. Unbelievable.
Bring out shitton! Bring out shitton! Bring out shitton!
Unit lost.
Bring out shitton!
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Thanks very much. That's all. See you on Thursday. Right.
And let's take you to Nate Burleson in New York.
I can't hear anything.
I can hear you. Go, Nate, go. Here we go. Rodgers against Tennessee, and they're going deep, and it was caught by the Titans. Ridley with a touchdown reception. The former Jacksonville Jaguar, Will Levis, with a long throw for Tennessee. Back to Minneapolis. All right, Nate, thank you. Second down 6. Outside they go. There's Ayuk.